Hello, welcome to another episode of this exciting asset browser that we're building. Alright, so we're gonna do some really exciting stuff today. Let's check out the result that we have here. So we're gonna check this is the result, of course, as we always do. Start with the final product and go work our way up to that. So what I did today, it's a few things. For starters, I changed the or added this drop down with the categories here because as I was working on this, having this panel on the left, it just seems to take too much space. So I still have it there, but now I have it close. Also, not sure why, but now the roundness on these buttons is working, which is great. I like this, so I just opened Houdini again, and the roundness now works, which is great. And then I added the same style to this side, and now the tags here, if you click on it, it works. You can see it loads, and everything that has a share on it, it has a bet on it. It's pretty quick, so which is really nice because you see everything that has a lamp, it's there, and we're using the same thing that we. Same assets or the same functionality that we used before to create the other parts of this. So just adding more functionality to this has been really simple. So let's see, this one has like architecture, tag, a bridge. So you can see we have some assets with a bridge, tunnel, and a path. Right. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do today. I think it's pretty cool. There wasn't a way to access the tags from the API, from the Polyhaven API, so I just did that myself. Sorting some dictionaries again. It's gonna be pretty simple. Cool, but again, the main thing is having this thing closed, adding the functionality on the tags. All right, so let's get started with that. As always, I'm gonna switch to the current version that we're using, like this. Right, so I'm missing a one here. Didn't delete that. Cool. Right, now this is what we're gonna be using. So you can see we still have this guy here. It's not it's still visible here and doesn't have the styling that these guys have. Right, so that's gonna be the first part of this. Let's go to where we are defining that. So here, that is the one that is done. Here in the stretch factor, I'm gonna make this -1, and I'm gonna remove the splitter size here. Remember we did this the last video to keep this at 200, but I don't want to have that be at that size anymore, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. So -1 to close it. This is the first column of the splitter again, and then 0 to just keep it at 0. And you can see now it just closed. It is there, so if you want to use that and you like that, you can use it, but I'm not gonna be using it. I like to have a little bit more space here, and I like the idea of having this drop down here. I added this drop down, of course, in the UI here. I'm not gonna show you how to do that. I mean, we already saw how to do that. There's a little bit of space that we could add here. Let's see. Let me click on that horizontal layout. Layout spacing 7. I'm not seeing any spacing. Let's see. It's fine. I don't really want to have that much spacing, but let me see if that works. I don't think it's working. Spacing, no. It's fine. Right. So, okay. It seems like it worked now. It's weird. Let's add more. Maybe I didn't save that. Yeah, I added just a little bit of space in there to this. Again, I just created Q combo box here. Added the name cat combo box or CBX. And then I made the minimum width to 300 because I don't want this to be squashed. I wanted to have like a little bit of width predefined there. And that's it. That's all I did here. Nothing more. Just also move this category from it was on this column, move it over here. And that's it. Again, if you want this file to follow me exactly, it will be on my Patreon if you want to support me there. If not, just make your own, continue with your own UI and just move on with it from there, right? It's not really a requisite. Or if you want the code, you will find it on Patreon. But if you're doing your own code, everything's fine. All right, so that is that. So let's just get it from here. Let's get that widget here, right? Self cat CBX, I call that. It's gonna be self.ui. Let me move my microphone a little bit higher because I can see my keyboard. This is gonna be cat CBX like that, and then I'm gonna connect that to a function. Whenever we change this or we use this is gonna be emitting an attribute, right? Or let's just populate it first, and then we can do the functionality after that. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna add there? It's gonna be, we're gonna add the same categories that we added in the side here, right? Where we're doing those buttons. So it's gonna be in this area right here. So we're creating those buttons here, right? So this is gonna be simple. You don't really need a loop for this. I call fill category menu and self combo box. We can just call the add items function there, which actually takes a list, and we already have the list here, so we could just pass that list, and just doing that, just gonna populate the whole thing. There we go. That's pretty simple. Just pass a list to it, and it's gonna populate it. And I want to be the studio is the one that I want to be the default. So let's call that. Let's set that. By default, it's gonna be the first one is gonna be set 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want index 4. So you can set the index just really simple. Self by set the current index to 4, and then you have to set this index after you populated the items. If you try to call it above this, it's not gonna work because there's no items. So be aware of that. So call this when you populated the menu. So now if I do that, this is gonna be on studio. Okay. So now when I click on one of this, I want to call that function that we had before, right? So we want this to change as the same way we do when we click this. So we're gonna basically use the same functionality that we have on these buttons here to change this, but from here. So that way you can do the same thing from different functionality. You can use both, not at the same time, but you can use either one if you want to. So we're gonna connect. There is an event which is the current index change. Connect. So this is gonna trigger whenever we change this. When we click on something, it's gonna trigger. So that's good. Exactly what we need. Self category. When I call this category changed. And if you don't know where I'm getting those functionalities, you can look at the help. Maybe here, even in Designer and in Kit Designer, you can press F1 on something you have selected, and here it takes me to For this is Q widget, I wasn't selecting anything, seems like. This one. This is your help now. Select it, F1, takes you to Q combo box class. You can also just search this on Google. And then here you can see all the help, everything you can do with it, all the properties. And then here is the signals or the events. Sometimes just call it events, but it's a signal. And then here is current text change, current index change is the one that I'm doing. Activated, you can do any of these things, highlighted, text activated, text highlighted, etc. Right, so that's the one that we're using. And if you click on it, it just tells you the signal says whenever the current text changes. Oh, that's the current text. The signal sent whenever the current text on the combo box changes, either through user interaction or programmatically. So even if this is, you change it like we did here, just by setting it on the code, like here, we call it here, right? Here, this will also trigger the signal when you call it from a code. Right, okay. So let's now do a little bit of work on that. Right, okay. We created this. We're gonna create this category changed functionality here. Let me just go over. Let's put it here. So we're gonna category changed, and this is gonna take it's gonna pass an index. We might not use the index, but there will be an index coming from this. Whenever this changes, it sends you the index it changed. So we can use the index, but we're really not going to use it. But you could if you wanted to. So to get again, as I mentioned, you can use the index. You can print the index if you want. But what I want is the name of the category, because that's how we are calling it in the assets, when the function assets, when we need a name. So we're gonna just get the current text. So this is just gonna give us whatever name is here at the moment selected. Studio is gonna give us studio, right? Okay, so you can see. Let me just copy this so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna print the index, and I'm gonna print the current name, current text here, just so you can see what's happening, right? So you can see already happened twice at the beginning. It was set to 0, then I changed it to 4, and then it triggered again. So now if I click it again, outdoor is 1, urban is 8, right? So there it is, it's working. Great. That is awesome. Can actually make this a little bit bigger. Cool. Right. So it's working. And we are not really gonna use this, so I'm gonna delete it. Right, okay, so now what we can do here is just do what we are doing when we're loading. When we are loading, let me see. We are loading assets here, but there's another place here. So this is what we did when we click on the categories on the buttons here, right? This is the one that's been set for this category click. So we're gonna basically do this same thing, but since we're doing it in another way, we are going to, let me just organize this a little bit. We're going to extract a little bit of this, okay? Because I have we're gonna do basically the same thing here, but instead of getting the text here, we are going to use we're going to have the name of the index that we have right here. So basically, all of this part is gonna be the all these parts gonna be the same, and the only thing that's gonna change is what we're passing in this category. So to make this a little bit clearer, I'm gonna make another function here. I'm gonna call this category load, and this is gonna take a category. Okay. So I'm gonna move all this part, all this to that function, just making it so we don't have to have that functionality in both functions. Just delete this. And here in this function, category click, which is the previous function that we used there. Let me just delete this line. We're just gonna call that function self category load with this category. So I just split this into two functions, right? So that's pretty simple. And why I did that is because I want to have this category change. Let me put this up the top here. This category change also call this category load and with this category here. So it's gonna be exactly the same. So that let me just copy this. Really don't really need to. Right. So that whenever we're using the combo box, we call it from here, and when using the button, we call it from here. So just so we don't have all these lines of code in both functions, we just put it here, and when we call that function from any of this, and if we have any other way of changing the category, we can just do the little thing that we get the category and just call it from there, right? Okay, cool, right? That is really simple. That is just mostly what we need to do there, which is great. All right, so now before I do the tags, I want to do the apply the tag style to this. See, we have the style of tagging on this, guys, which look pretty nice. I like those tags. And we have all this text here. Since we're going to use, again, this text this style in two areas, I want to just make this text be available for everything that we want to use it for. So here we have the variables. I'm going to just paste this code, which is the same thing, the same style here that we had. I just divided into put it in a variable and added these backslashes to make it be basically one single line of text here, and then we're gonna just replace that in here. Instead of doing that, just gonna say self dot tag style like that. And now for the buttons, let's apply the same thing. Again, where we are filling this, we have these buttons here, right? That's pretty simple. Let's just here at the bottom say cat button set style sheet to self that tag style like that. And if we refresh, it should be working fine. Seems like it is. If we see this side, you can see these guys have the same style, which is good, and these guys has the same style. So now we need to make these guys do something, because right now they're just like, they're not doing anything. It's just there. They're pretty cool. They don't serve any purpose at the moment. So we're gonna have to make them do something. All right, so for this, we're going to create a function. As I mentioned, if any of you find a way to get the specific tag from the API, let me know, because I couldn't find a way to get the tags from the API. So I just made my own function to find the tags. And what I'm doing is we have all the data, right? In the previous video, we're storing all the data in this variable. So every single asset from the website, we're doing that. So when you click on any of that, let's say you click on Studio, what I'm doing is going through all the assets and checking the tags on that asset and checking if it has that tag on the tags array. And if it does, I just put them on a list. And then I use that list to load those assets into here. Okay. So that's basically the short explanation of that. So let's just implement that. It's going to be really simple. Again, it's not that hard to do, really. So here I'm going to make a function called, gonna say find tag in assets. I mean, it's pretty descriptive, right? Find tag in assets. This is it's not gonna take any arguments because we're gonna detect what button send the signal, and then we're gonna get that function that button name. So we're gonna get the tag name. It's gonna be equal to self.sender, just like we did before. That text. So whoever is sending this signal, it's gonna be our name. We should basically gonna get these names on the buttons, right? We did this before, so that's what we're doing now again. So now for every asset in the self.assets, all data. So we're gonna loop into all the data, all this is basically a dictionary. So we're gonna loop into those, and then we're gonna get the tags. So I'm gonna get the tags for each one of those items. All data dot no, not that, asset tags like that. So if you don't know what I'm doing, let me see. Let's see if I have this window open still here. Let me see. Just give me 1 second to find that window. Let's get all the data from the website here. This is all the HDRIs. It's the same thing that is holding, all data is holding. So if we put that here in this JSON, just to visualize it better, let me make this big and big and big. So every asset, this asset has these different sections, but then has this tag section. So we are going to be looking into this array to see if the tag that we are clicking it's in this array. If it is, we're going to store this object into a new array, and then we're going to use that for what we need to do and displace those guys over here. Okay, so it's going to be really quite simple. So that's what we're doing here. We're getting from the all data, getting the asset and the tags array. If we print this here, you can see, let me just faster if I just copy this. If we print the tags here, just delete it. If we print the tags that we got here, it should be printing every single tag from all the assets in the all the assets in the data there. So might be ladder, might just gonna be a lot. Oh, this is not being called yet, right? Yeah, we click this guy and it's not called yet. So let's fix that. So let's connect the buttons that we're creating here. Should be up here. So these guys, these are the categories. Sorry, that's not the tag buttons are here. So this is the tag buttons. This is the ones that we need to connect to that function. So let's call this tag button that when this is clicked, connected to self that. Let's call that to, what is the function that I was making? Sorry, I just forgot the name. Find tagging assets. Okay, let me just call that. Here, find tagging assets. There we go. So now this should be connected. And we click this and it says that there is some issues here in my print. So let's go and see that. What did I do wrong here? Indices might be not integers. What am I doing wrong there? Hold on a second. Yes, I need to print this, not this. Sorry, this is wrong. I need to print it like this. Getting from the all data, getting this asset, give me the tag of that, which is what I'm doing here. Had the wrong thing there. So let's click this and this should print now. Oh, there we go. So now we have all the tags there. So that's great because now that we have the tags, some of them have a bunch of tags. We can check if the name of this is on those tags and just put it on a variable, right? Okay, so that is going to be the next part. So let's create that variable. We're going to create that variable up here. I mean, I should have maybe created this variable here with these variables. So that's the best place to have it. And this is going to be a dictionary here. So I'm going to put it there. Then back again here. Sorry, man, we have so much code now. Now here, I'm not going to print any more of that. We can populate that dictionary with the data. So that's going to be, again, really simple. If the tag name, so the tag name that the button that we clicked on is in tags in this array, if we find this name, the name of the button in this array, we're going to do something. And what we're going to do is add this to the tags section. Basically, I'm creating a new section that I call it tag section. The name of this dictionary is going to be the name of the asset. And then the content of that dictionary or the value is going to be the all data asset. Right, so we're getting, again, let's go to the, so we're basically saying if in these tags, it's the name of we get this name as the key, just like here, which is basically reconstructing this. This is the key, and this is the value of the dictionary. So that's what we're doing. We're passing this as the key, and this is the value. Same thing. We might not even need all this stuff, but I'm just passing it anyway in case we later need categories or any data from there. But we might not even need it. Right, so that should be working with that. But we're still not loading this data, right? We're just populating this thing, but we're not doing anything with it. Also, I want to first, before we populate this, I want to clear the dictionary, because if I don't, it's gonna keep adding to this, and I'm gonna be having more assets that I want. So I'm just gonna put here clear, which is gonna be just clear tag assets first. So just so we only have that amount of assets. If we don't do that, we're gonna keep collecting assets into that dictionary, and we don't really want that. So now, after we have that, let's just load those assets. We're gonna create load assets with tag. So basically, those assets that we just created with the tag, we're gonna load them, and this is gonna be basically the same stuff we're doing here. So it's gonna be same stuff we have here. Again, you could just do a function that loads both things, categories and tags. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna copy this part and just do it here, and then change this self data to all data. Actually, no, not all data. This tag section. That's what we're gonna loop now from onto those tags here, and that's where we're gonna be loading. Also, we need to clear the layout as well here, as we clear this layout, and then load the new stuff here. And that's basically what we need to do here. I mean, there's nothing else to do. It's gonna be exactly the same code there. Because this code is already good. It's already doing what it needs to do. Just deleting some lines. I don't know why I have so many lines there. This code already does what it does. Again, you could just put this into a function, which we probably should. Just put this into a function, pass whatever it needs here, like the asset and the array which you're gonna be looping into, and then just extract that into a function and not be repeating that code over here as well. For now, I think it's gonna be fine. I don't think it's gonna affect us much. So the only thing we need to do here is when we find the asset here, we need to call that function, this one, to load the assets, right? So at the end here, we're gonna say load asset with tag. We don't need to pass anything. So we click on the button, we find the assets that have that tag, and then we load that into the main content view there. And that should work if everything went fine. Let's see what happens. We're still printing a lot of tags there, seems like. Are we? Why are we printing tags? I don't think you should be printing tags. Let's see, no, we're not printing tags. So if we get this one, click on couch. There we go. Look at that. It loaded everything that has a couch. Studio, loaded studios. Something that has a blanket. Yeah, 2 stuff that has blankets. Book, just 1. Step, Christmas, backplates. That has a bunch of them. Studio. So yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. So we didn't have a function for that, for specific tags on the API, but we made our own, and then it just works wonderful. You can still click on one of these guys that were the result of that, and then we have more similar ones. Fireplace, and it's loaded everything that has a fire, bell fire for some reason, a room, And then you can go and say, well, I wanted to look at skies, and it's gonna load the skies. So yeah, this is working great. Night, fluorescent, there we go. Fluorescent light, bench, hole, tracks. Yeah, man, it's working great. Works great. It's snappy, and it's pretty nice. Great. All right, I think we are done for today, actually. All right, cool. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Next, I want to do searching. I want to implement the search here and filter a little bit of the assets, because sometimes, for example, on, I don't know, outdoor, we can filter by tags and stuff. But if you want something specific that you know, maybe you can just say parking and get that everything that's parking related or has that text on the name. So next week we're gonna do that, and I think after that is done, we're gonna move on to another section of Polyhaven, maybe loading textures or assets. I'm not sure. I'll see what I like best to do after. Or some people had asked me to make this load also local assets, local HDR images. If you're interested in that, let me know. If not, I'm just gonna move on to whatever I think it's best for the asset browser for now. But man, this asset browser is looking pretty cool. I just really love it. I think it's the best one that I had ever, and I'm always using the Polyhaven HDR images, so it's gonna be super useful for me now, having the whole website here really accessible in Houdini, not having to go download it and doing all the stuff. There's also a matter of maybe doing a little bit more structure on what we have. Like the code is pretty much all just jammed into one file. That is not great, although this file is not really that big. It's not even 600 lines. But some parts that we're just not really touching at all, like all the database stuff, could just be moved into one file. Maybe these functions that are static can be moved into a utilities function. The image downloader, the image button, the mix button, the mix item could be in their own classes in an old file. They don't really need to be here. And just leave the asset browser class in this file. But anyway, we'll see what happens. If you have any preference of what you want to see next, let me know. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Let's keep learning together. See ya.